Okay, so let's jump right into Connect then. This idea of turning raw data into actionable insights, data telling a story. So AIoT Cloud seems to be at the heart of it all, but can you walk us through how it works?
So imagine you have sensors on your factory floor, attached to all sorts of machines, old, new, it doesn't matter. Those sensors, they're gathering tons of raw data, right? Temperature, pressure, speed, all of it. Now, this is where V1 Mars comes in. This clever little device acts as an IoT gateway, collects that data, and sends it to the AIoT cloud.
So like a messenger, gathering intel from the factory floor and sending it up to headquarters.
Exactly, but it's not just a dump pipe. V1 Mars, it actually does some pre-processing, sorting, organizing the data before sending it up.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Interesting.
and once it's in the cloud, that's where the magic really happens. V1, it arranges the data, cleans it up, gets it ready for analysis.
Okay, so the cloud's where the data gets its makeover, so to speak. What happens next?
This is where machine learning and deep learning come in. V1 uses these sophisticated algorithms to analyze the data, identifies patterns, trends, anomalies, all that good stuff. But the cool thing is, the user doesn't need to be a data scientist to understand it? V1 presents those insights in a really visually intuitive way, user friendly dashboards.
Okay, so it's like translating a foreign language, turning complex data into a story anyone can understand.
That's a great analogy. And the best part, it's all low code. So you don't need a whole team of programmers to set it up or make changes. It's designed for anyone to use, really.
That's super important for a lot of manufacturers out there who might not have, big IT departments. Now, let's go back to V1 Mars for a second. You mentioned it can connect to practically any machine, regardless of age or brand. How is that even possible?
So V1 Mars is incredibly versatile. If you're looking at slide 14 of the presentation, you can see it supports a wide range of communication protocols. Standard ones like Modbus, MT Connect, and more specialized ones too. It's like a universal adapter for industrial machines.
Okay, that makes sense. But the factory floor can be a chaotic place, right? Machines from different eras, different brands. Does V1 Mars really live up to the hype?
It does, actually. It's compatible with the big names you'd expect,
Well,
FANUC, Mitsubishi, Electric, Siemens, but also a lot of less common brands, too. V1 Mars can connect them all, bring them into the digital age.
wow, that's pretty amazing. Now, you can't talk about connecting machines without talking about security, right?
hmm
With all this data flying around, how does V1 ensure everything is kept safe and sound?
Yeah, security is absolutely paramount, and Vtrox has taken this multi-layered approach with V1. If you look at slide 13 of the VON Manufacturing Intelligence Solutions overview, you can see a breakdown of all their security features.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit. What are some of the key takeaways for someone who's concerned about, data breaches and all that?
Right. So, for starters, you have user authentication with a strong hashing algorithm to protect passwords. They've also implemented two factor authentication for an extra layer of security. And then there's the data itself. It's encrypted both when it's stored and when it's transmitted. So, even if someone were to intercept it, they wouldn't be able to read it.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, they've also designed the system with secure data storage and secure boot mechanisms. So, it's really tough for unauthorized access or tampering.
It sounds like they've really thought this through.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got data flowing from the factory floor to the cloud, being analyzed and presented in a way that's easy to understand. But what happens next? How do manufacturers actually use these insights to improve their operations?
That's where V1's app builder comes in. It's a game changer, really, because it allows manufacturers to create custom applications tailored to their specific needs.
Wait, so we're not just talking about pre-built dashboards here.
Nope. This is about going beyond that. With the app builder, you can create apps that do all sorts of things: trigger alerts when certain conditions are met, automate tasks, even control machines remotely. And this is where things get really futuristic. V1 version 5 has integrated large language models, or LLMs, and chatbot functionality.
LLMs, that's some next level stuff.
Hmm.
How does that change the game for manufacturers?
Think about this. You can now have a conversation with your factory. You can ask the chatbot questions about production status, get real time updates, even have it generate reports for you.
So it's like having a virtual assistant that speaks machine language.
Exactly. And because it's based on LLMs, it can understand complex instructions and handle all sorts of tasks. It's like having a team of data analysts and programmers at your fingertips, but without the overhead.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Hmm.
But let's not forget about DEMO, the digital intelligence module.
Mhm.
How does that fit into this picture?
You can think of V1 as the brain of the operation, while Dymo is the hands working directly on the factory floor. It provides a digital interface for workers, replaces paper based processes, and brings real time data to their fingertips.
So it's bridging that gap between the digital world of V1 and the physical world of the factory floor.
Exactly. Imagine a worker at a kiosk with a touchscreen. They scan a barcode, and Dion shows them their job instructions, tracks their progress, even lets them provide feedback. No more scrambling for paperwork or trying to remember what they're doing.
That's a huge efficiency boost right there.
Uh,
It's like having a digital assistant for every worker.
It is, and it's a great example of how V1 isn't just about collecting data, it's about using that data to empower workers and improve their daily lives.
Yeah, I like that. So we've seen how V1 connects these disparate machines, gathers the data, analyzes it, and then provides those actionable insights. Through dashboards and custom applications, it's really a game changer for manufacturers.
Yeah, it is. But we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, like how this technology is being used in real world scenarios and the impact it's having on businesses and industries.
Okay, well, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. Let's take a look at some real world examples then. See how V1 is being used to solve real problems and drive tangible results.
Sounds good to me.
Mm.
All right, so let's look at a real world scenario where V1's Connect segment is really making a difference. Let's say we're talking about a sheet metal manufacturer. They've got a bunch of machines, some brand new, some, older than dirt, all working together to get the job done.
The classic challenge of legacy equipment. I
Right.
feel like so many manufacturers are in that boat. How does V1 help them, bring those older machines into the digital age?
That's where the magic of V1 Mars comes in. Remember, we talked about it being like a universal translator. Well, in this case, it's connecting to those older sheet metal processing machines that might not have been designed with, data collection in mind.
So it's giving those old machines a voice, letting them speak the language of data.
Exactly. And once those machines are talking, V1 starts listening, collecting all sorts of data machine uptime, cycle times, feed speeds, even things like current draw, really painting a detailed picture of what's happening on the factory floor.
Okay, so we've got the data, but how does that translate into actual improvements for the sheet metal manufacturer? What's the aha moment?
Well, imagine you're the production manager. You pull up your V1 dashboard, and boom, you see a real time view of your entire operation. You can see which machines are running smoothly, which ones are having issues, where the bottlenecks are. You're not relying on guesswork or gut feeling anymore. You have hard data to back up your decisions.
That's got to be incredibly powerful, especially in a fast paced environment like manufacturing. Can you give us a specific example of how that data driven approach leads to real improvements?
Absolutely. One of the key metrics V1 tracks is overall equipment effectiveness, or OEE. It's a measure of how productive a machine is compared to its theoretical maximum. So let's say our sheet metal manufacturer notices that the OEE of one of their older punch presses is consistently lower than the others.
Okay, so there's a problem.
Mm,
But without V1, they might not even know that, right? They
yeah.
just know they're not meeting production targets.
Exactly. But with V1, they can drill down and see why that machine is underperforming. They can see things like excessive downtime, slow cycle times, even high scrap rates, things they might not have been able to pinpoint before.
So V1's giving them that granular insight,
Yeah.
helping them identify the root cause of the problem.
Yes. And once they know the problem, they can fix it. Maybe the machine needs some preventative maintenance. Maybe the operator needs additional training. Whatever the solution, it's all about using data to drive continuous improvement.
That's a great example of how V1 can take a manufacturer from like reactive firefighting
Yeah.
to proactive problem solving.
It is. And it's not just about individual machines. V1 also gives you that bird's eye view of the entire production process. For example, it can track the progress of a sheet metal part as it moves from one machine to the next, identifying any bottlenecks or delays along the way.
So it's like having a GPS for your manufacturing process. You can see exactly where everything is, how it's moving.
You got it. And that level of visibility is essential for optimizing production flow and ensuring on time delivery.
This all sounds incredibly powerful. But I'm curious about the human side of things. How do the people on the factory floor actually interact with V1? Is it just managers staring at dashboards all day?
That's a great question. Remember DIMO, the digital intelligence module we talked about earlier?
Oh, well,
It's playing a crucial role in bringing V1 to the front lines.
okay, right. Dymo.
Mm.
Remind me, how does that work and how does it fit into this sheet metal manufacturing scenario?
So picture this. A worker walks up to the sleek DIMO kiosk on the factory floor. It's got a touchscreen barcode reader. The worker scans a barcode on a sheet metal part, and boom. Dymo displays all the relevant information, work instructions, quality checks, even real-time feedback from the machines.
So it's like a digital playbook for each worker, guiding them through the process step by step.
Exactly. No more paper-based work orders or trying to decipher handwritten notes. Everything is digital, up to date, and easily accessible. And the beauty of it is it's all connected to V1.
Okay, so how does that connection between Dymo and V1 actually benefit the worker and the overall process?
Well, let's say the worker notices a problem with a sheet metal part. Maybe there's a dent or a scratch. With a demo, they can easily log that defect, attach a photo, even trigger an alert to the quality control team.
So it's streamlining communication, problem solving, cutting down on delays and potential errors.
Absolutely. And because all this data is being fed back into V1,
Hmm.
managers have that real time view of quality issues so they can address problems quickly and prevent them from happening again.
This whole system is incredibly impressive. But it's clear that V1 is more than just a software program. It's like a philosophy, a way of thinking about manufacturing.
You're absolutely right. Vtrox calls it compassionate innovation. And it's really woven into every aspect of V1. They understand that technology should be used to empower people, not replace them.
Yeah, it's about making the work experience better, not just making machines run faster.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we've seen how V1 can transform a sheet metal manufacturing operation.
Delays. Don't you find it exhausting and inefficient to operate a machine manually? How much can you achieve without using V1 Demo? There are 3 brief sections on job distribution: sending out jobs, receiving jobs, and tracking progress. The role of a planner entails scheduling jobs in Excel or ERP and importing them into the Job Intelligence module. Each demo will get the allocated job from the planner. On the other hand, for the job of an operator, the operator must scan in at demo to begin the job on the machine. After the task is completed, the operator will scan out from demo to notify the planner and record the job's duration. Demo will retrieve the specific work instruction whenever the intended operator starts the job. This could help to avoid the loss of job instruction as operators rotate. The operator could view work instructions from a variety of file types, including JPEG, GAN, DXF. The tracking of the location of the job will be using V1. Instead of passing work instructions between departments throughout the process, the job will be routed through Demo, Demo B, and Demo C. During the process, the flow of jobs between Demo will be reflected in real time, which is the current job status in the V1 dashboard. Following that, Job Intelligence will update the ERP or database upon work start and completion.